Sorry for the delay, folks. J- uh, was just going to use Restream IO and did not realize that it held me to a time frame. So I apologize for that. Uh, Rough start this evening. Um, been a crazy past 48 hours in Saberland this this time of night. Hold on one second, folks. Sorry about that. Friend called me. Stars live stream. Just me tonight. I'm just here to talk about the inevitable future of this team. Uh, it seems potentially that Jack Eichel wants out of Buffalo. That's what we're gonna just briefly talk about this evening. Not gonna. I watched a little bit of the press conference or most of the quotes. Uh, uh, this is just gonna be one fan's take on this whole situation from what's gone down the past 48 hours and what's come out. Um, I'm not going to get into too much detail tonight, uh, but just seems like to me that the, it's inevitable that you like Jack Eichel is going to be traded, or either Ristolainen or Sam might be traded or not be resigned, and potentially we might be under another rebuild. That seems like where at this point this team's heading. Uh, it's left me very disappointed in how this team has handled this kid and the situation for the past 5 years with again different GMs, different coaching, uh, different players. It's not a great time to be a Sabres fan right now. Uh, I I strongly hope they somehow can patch this up, whatever issue they're having. Uh, I'm disheartened. I'm very disheartened as a fan of this team for the past 10, 15 years. There's probably people, again, just I think even probably more frustrated. Um, on a different note, I watched a show called The Ranting Ron Show. He's on YouTube at Ranting Ron. He's on YouTube right now. I believe talking to Pete Weber, I think he's the announcer of the Nashville Predators, a one-time former Sabre announcer. So shout out to Ron. Thank you for. I watched your show Monday night. It was very good. I enjoyed it. Very refreshing to hear. Give me a different take on everything. Some things I definitely agreed with. Some things I'm gonna tend to disagree on. Uh, it's it's very again. It's not what you want to hear from your captain in some respects. It was refreshing. I'm glad he was honest. But I mean, it just drives the media speculation tenfold. There was already media speculation before the end of the season about Jack Eichel being traded in the offseason. And this did not help anything. Kevin Adams spoke to media today, as well as Don Granado. Unfortunately, I did not get a chance to see him, so I probably am not going to give you a lot of context on that. There are things that came out on that press conference. I listened to the instigators today. Uh, listen to what they had to say. I mean, there's different angles you know, different things can go down. Obviously, from a player's perspective, it is frustrating, to say the least. It's been frustrating. I can side with that, but I was can see ownership's perspective, which I did read the quotes for sure. I didn't watch the press conference, but let me clarify. I did not watch the press conference, but I read some of the tweets earlier this evening to kind of see what was said and everything. And I mean, it's you get a lot of people get the sense that he's probably not going to be in a Buffalo Sabres uniform uh, by this coming season. But it's too early to predict. And I apologize. This is a rant, but I feel like the NFL future of the Buffalo Sabres is eventually going to be a future without Jack Eichel. Now, that does not mean it's going to be all glum and doom and you're going to be totally at the bottom of the league for the next few years, but it could potentially well be again that way. Uh, whether we like it or not, because we've been out of the playoffs for 10 years. Uh, you hit, Kevin Adams is if this is his officially probably will be completing his first year in June, I believe. So he's not been on the job for a year yet. And so, I mean, you create this vacuum hole for Kevin Adams now on what he's going to do. I think we touched on this last video on about where this team would potentially head. And again, I will stand by the decision or Jimmy's decision. A lot that's going to depend on the coach they bring in if they're going to keep Granado. Uh, seems like they're going to do a thorough search, which I respect that. Need to do that with this team. But at the end of the day, it's going to boil down to probably two or three names: Granado, Gerard Gallant, or Bruce Boudreau, in my opinion. And the only reason, by the way, Ron, that I brought up Steve I is like they had it on the Buffalo News list of potential candidates when Ralph Kruger was fired. So that's why I brought Steve Ott's name up. Yeah. So it's uh, I will say this. I would say this again. I shouldn't say again, but I will say that this rumor speculation has merit. If it didn't have merit, I think Eichel would have squashed the rumors. So I mean, of course, Kevin Adams is going to say that he's not going to trade Eichel or that or whatever the case may be. He's not going to broach that out to the media at this point. I think you have to take a very high offer for Jacko to be traded. At most, you're looking at maybe a couple first round picks. You might be looking at high end prospects, or you might be looking at established NHL, young established NHL players that would be close to a Jack Eichel in a deal. Rumors were on the trade speculation with Freeman. Obviously, they're going to bring up LA Canes. I saw something last night about the Minnesota Wild. The Rangers have been mentioned. Uh, some about Ottawa, and there might be one other team that I might be missing out on. Uh, but those are the teams that are being speculated in all this. If you were to trade for Jack Eichel from the national media perspective, or if a Jack Eichel hit, or when, or will, or however, it also means that Sam Reinhart will be traded if they are looking to rebuild, which he stated for a fact that he does not want to be part of another rebuild. And Ristolainen said he's going to honor basically honor his striker. You can trade him or you can keep him or whatever you want to do with him. That's the bottom line of what he said. I don't think this is going to affect the Dowlings or Cousins. That has nothing to do with that. But I mean, it's going to be a one interesting offseason. Good, better, and different. Uh, what I'm really again, I I I just I'm not surprised, but I'm very disappointed. I'm very disappointed in Jack. And for Jack. I'm very disappointed at the team. Uh, I I don't know what to say as far as the disappointment. I feel everybody's pain because this has been 6 years now since we drafted him. 10 years of the playoff drought. It's just not good, not good at all. Uh, Dan Quinn was also relieved of his. On a side note, Dan Quinn was relieved of his duties as New York Rangers head coach. Um, I haven't had time to talk about the Bills draft. We might be able to get to that on another date. Maybe not talk about it. Uh, so that's about all I got this evening. It's a short video. Uh, m- I did, there's just I think the eventual ending of this is going to lead to be about three things. Jack Eichel may be traded this off season. He might be traded next off season if they don't make the playoffs. But there's no movement clause kicks in after next year. Uh, or he winds up staying and we make the playoffs. Those are the three scenarios I see laying for this team. When everything goes down, I think I'll react to that and I'll give you my honest opinion. But I, I I'm just I'm like a lot of State fans. I'm fed up with losing. Anyways. I'm fed up with ownership for not caring about one team and not the other. Uh, you can disagree with me on that, but I feel like you know again this is partially on ownership for failing to get it right, if anything, and then you got things that you had last year uh, that were that went on in the Buffalo News as far as the articles that were posted about the Pagulas and everything. Uh, everything's been building to this. Everything. What's gone on with even with Ralph Kruger getting fired this year, uh, it's no surprise. So uh, I will talk to you guys soon. Hope you all are doing well. Take it easy. Have a great night. I'm still alive. I forgot to end broadcast.